Hello, this is Scott. So as a process engineer, I want to explore data easily and quickly. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to explore a simple data set in a tool called TIBCO Spotfire that allows you to do basic visualization, but well beyond that, modeling, which we won't really get into. But this will be about simple data exploration. I have a very simple data set. Again, I'm a process engineer. I am interested in really two decision variables or KPIs. I'm looking at the data in Excel right now. So I've marked fill ounces and pH. Hopefully you can see those two columns here. And I'm going to take a better look at the fill ounces and the kpH within Spotfire. Okay, so the first thing that I've done is I've launched Spotfire. I have that Excel data file. So let me show you how easy it is to bring that data in to Spotfire. I just basically grab that Excel data. I can look at it, make sure it's the file that I'm interested in here. And it is, so I'll just click open, and Spotfire is going to read the format of that Excel file. At this point, I can change all of my data types here. You can see I've got date and time. Spotfire realized that that's a date time field, a string field, etc. So I'm just going to click OK. And then Spotfire by default is going to create a data table, which I can explore. Down here on the left panel, you'll see the different data types. You'll see that I have a bunch of continuous variables called numbers here. I have one variable called test time, which is a date time field. And then I have one category field. And I can quickly look and see what categories I have within that column, right? So I click A, B, B, B. This is masked data, but these are essentially soft drink brand names. So this is soft drink manufacturing data. And again, I'm interested in pH here. This is the acidity level of the soft drink. And this is by bottle. So these are fill ounces. And this is my other KPI that I'm interested in, is the actual fill ounces within the data set. So I can create multiple pages along the top. It just created this first page here, and then I can start exploring the data easily in Spotfire. And I can use kind of this artificial intelligence built into the platform with this recommended visualizations. So I can grab pH and brand code together, and I want to see the relationship between pH and brand code. So I'll add a simple bar chart here, and then I'll add a table. I add another bar chart, which I'll change in just a second. And let's see, lastly, I want to create a time series field. So instead of looking at pH and brand code, I'm actually going to look at pH and test time. So I'll get rid of that, and I'm going to create this time series. So basically, explore the data in a few different ways within Spotfire. On this time series, I just want to look at the series of pH, not the sum. So it's defaulting to sum. So all I have to do here is say that I want no aggregation here. And then furthermore, it's giving me the by day. Here, I can just simply click on test time and then do test time, and it's going to give me each individual point across time. There are multiple data points taken within a day, so that's the reason that I'm going to do that. If you remember back to the original set, you can see here on 9/4, there's a lot of different values taken for that particular date. Okay. The other things that I want to do is I'm not going to really look at the sum pH. I want to know what the average or median is. In fact, I want to use the median. It's a more robust statistic to show what the pH value is across this brand code. And I'm going to do that. And then the scale is such that I really can't see the variability that well. So I'm scaled all the way from 0 to 9. So let me just change that scale real quick on the value axis. I'm just going to make that 8 to 9. Oops, 8 to 9. And then now I can see the variability. I can see that GGG has the highest median pH, and then CCC has the soft drink brand. CCC actually has the lowest pH. And again, this data is masked here. I can also look at that in numerical values as well. So here I have, by default, again, it's going to the sum. And let me just get rid of that and go to the individual individual values. I'm sorry, the median values here. So now, basically, this is the same information that I have here, but I can see the actual pH values displayed. And you know, to be honest, I can put a label on top of these. That's another thing that you can do. But the purpose of this video is to show you multiple displays, displaying data very quickly, understanding relationships very quickly within Spotfire. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this visualization type from, so I go to switch visualization, and I'm going to do a scatter plot now. And again, I want to look at the individual pH values. So I'll select none for that. And then what pops out real quickly is the fact that I've got an outlier here. And when I hover over it, I can get what that value is. And then if I want to, I can mark that row. And I know that pH only runs from 0 to 18. I can investigate that later. But for purposes of this, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that data point. And what that'll do is that'll take that value out of my data set. So within just a few clicks, I already have this data panel created. To create a new sheet, I just click on plus, and then I could go to recommended visualizations. Again, depending on what I select here, I get different ideas to drop down within my canvas and create these pages. Since I'm interested in fill, I could also just duplicate this whole page, and with this page, what I can do is just change my DV from pH into fill ounces, and then I can look at the relationships there. Looks like I've got something going on in these particular periods, and I can investigate those. I can change the median pH here to fill ounces. I can change the, just like I did before, I can change this value axis now from, say, 23.5 up to 24.5. My target is actually 24 ounces. So I can look at those relationships as well, and I can change that. So I think you probably get the idea. What this allows me to do is very quickly scan and look at the relationships of the data itself. So I'm going to select none here. I see the scatter plot. I've got a point here that looks out of whack. The other thing that I can do within Spotfire is the ability to create notes. So if I'm working with someone, I can actually create a note here, and I can say, Carol, look at this fill point. Seems awful low. Can you investigate? And it's a way to work collaboratively with your fellow employees. So that's a really nice feature. Or I could make a static comment that would stay within this visualization as well. So now we've created several with the recommended visualizations, but I don't have to go with recommended visualizations. I want to start exploring the relationships between my pH and some other variables. And I can do that within three-dimensional displays. But here, I'm just going to do a very simple two-dimensional display. Note that I just clicked on this one button, the scatter plot, but Spotfire was smart enough to know that I probably want to do some sort of relationship, and it's even categorizing by brand code, so I can see how brand code fits in here. So what I probably would like to do is I would like to change this fill ounces to one of my variables that I control within my process, say air pressure. And I can look at the relationship between pH and this air pressure in my manufacturing process. And then I can see that these 4 points are all high on pH. They're all the same brand. They're brand BBB. And then I can investigate in on those points. I can do all sorts of things well beyond what we have time for. I want to make this real brief, but if I select these, I can actually create a table based upon just these markings, and hopefully can follow up with a more detailed version of this. But I want to keep this at a very, very high level. So, and then once I have that, I can create multiple visualizations on a page. I can just basically copy visualization here, duplicate visualization, and then I can create. All I have to do there is change my X category to anything that I want. So I can look at the relationship between temperature. So within a couple of clicks, I can reproduce that very easily. And then lastly, what I can do is I can look at data relationships. So here, within this drop-down, I can do all sorts of analyses, but if I want to just look at the relationships to pH and fill volume, this is an easy way to do it, right? So on the Y column, I want to look at pH, and then on the X column, I want to look at all of these variables. I think, let's see, pretty much all of them except time, which time didn't show up. So I think that'll be okay. And then Spotfire is going to create the relationships and all the statistics available for the relationships. So here, fill pressure is the #1 variable, trying to predict pH from an independent relationship. All right, so this doesn't take any interactions into consideration. But see how easy it is to just scroll through. All I have to do is hit the down button on my keyboard, and I can look at all of these different relationships very easily and explore my manufacturing data. So hopefully this has been meaningful to you. Again, in summary, I covered the data import from Excel, some very basic data explorations with smart recommendations available within the tool, data cleansing, the ability to mark a particular point individually, and then do things like, delete. I can filter that point out, which retains it in the data set. It just took it out of this particular visualization and the statistics associated with this visualization. I can mark multiple points at one time, and again, invert, create tables, do all sorts of things from that. And then here, we were exploring data relationships, and then here's the correlation value for those relationships. So I can look at whether it's an inverse here, fill pressure is inversely related or positively related, such as the pressure vacuum here, and quickly get an idea of those relationships. Also, we talked about conversations where you can address colleagues with a conversation. And so hopefully this will give you just an idea of the power of quick exploration within Spotfire. If you have any questions, you can reach me at either one of these email addresses, and I look forward to seeing you next time.